For the love of God. Does this? It's a bug in Rumble Studio that it. Okay. Let's try this now. Okay. Can you hear me? Yes, no, maybe. That sounds like you can. Okay, and we should be good. All right. If anybody's watching this live, please tell me if you can hear me. I am going to log into my locals page and double check that the sound is coming through there. All right. It looks like it is. Okay, so it should be okay. All right. Given that it's late and it's Sunday, it's not the usual time when I do live streams. I'm not expecting anyone to be here. If you are, please put something in the chat box. Let me know it is you. The topic I wanted to cover briefly is the introduction of the 338 ARC cartridge. And the business with this 338 ARC, I wasn't even aware of it. I was on a work trip to DC. It was a big army show. And I wasn't, honestly, I wasn't usually paying attention. I was busy. And then Hornady went and introduced 338 ARC. I spent a couple of days looking, I watched all the video release videos. Hornady's take on it, naturally Q's take on it. Kevin from Q, understandable reasons, doesn't like it. Everybody has an opinion. People love it. People hate it. Some think it's stupid. Some things don't. Some people don't. Some are saying it's the death of 8.6 Blackout. Others see no reason in 338 ARC. All sorts of people theorizing why Hornady introduced 338 ARC when we have 8.6 Blackout and 300 Blackout and subsonic 762x39 sub-X that Hornady makes, and subsonic 350 Legend and subsonic 450 Bushmaster, subsonic 458 Stockholm, and all sorts of stuff. So I thought I'd chime in and offer an opinion that probably is not going to endear anybody to me. And, I'm quite friendly with the guys at Q, and I'm quite friendly with enough people at Hornady. So there's a really good chance I will piss all of them off. That's okay. I don't see them. It's a nice way. The success of 8.6 Blackout is probably what enabled 338 ARC. I have been and remain, I have been an early proponent and remain a proponent of 8.6 Blackout. I shot an elk with supersonic 8.6, well past 300 yards, with good success. And I've seen the cartridge in action. It works well enough. But I also see why for a good number of people 8.6 Blackout is not an ideal option. Q plays in a fairly high-end world. I don't make anything cheap. Everything they do is quite good, and like I said, it's definitely leans. I have to apologize, my voice. It's windy in Albuquerque, and my allergies got cracking. So, what was I? Yeah. So nothing that Q does is cheap, right? And 8.6 Blackout, while it will, I think, continue to grow and get bigger, will never be, most likely, a hugely mainstream cartridge. Partly because in order to make it truly work well across the board in substance supers, you need pretty fancy and expensive bullets. But if you set it up right, excuse me, with the right bullet, the right gun, etc., it works spectacularly well. And the trick is that fast twist rate, this 1 in 3 twist rate. If you watched Hornady's introduction podcast for the 338 ARC, they quite specifically were not excited about the 1 in 3 twist, right? And the reason for that, they more or less said it out loud, is that they are just worried that people are going to experiment, shove bullets in the 8.6 with a very, very fast twist rate that were never intended for it. The bullets will blow up suppressors, somebody's going to get injured. When you're the company the size of Hornady, you kind of have to be worried about these things because we know that some Yahoo over there is just going to go start experimenting. We have this strong streak of anti-intellectualism in the shooting community where people try stuff without thinking about it too much. It's thankfully not super prevalent, but it exists, and I've seen it. People who go, well, how about we try this? That's got to be cool. Then they go and try it, right? And it doesn't always work well. If it just doesn't work well, it's fine. But if somebody gets hurt, I mean, that's a different ballgame. So 338 arc is at its best, it seems, as a subsonic round. The supersonic offering is not exciting for a variety of reasons. However, 338 ARC is a subsonic focused cartridge that will work with any and all bullets that Hornady makes relatively well. It will never make work as well as 8.6 Blackout with specialized bullets. If you're willing to pay attention, if you're willing to do your research, if you're willing to spend the money, the performance envelope for 8.6 Blackout with both subsonics and supersonics is quite incredible. However, if you're looking for cheap blinking practice, this ain't it. On the other hand, I do quite a lot of practice with it, with hand loads, with subsonic bullets, but there I don't care about the terminal performance in game. I'm just trying to shoot plates far away with subsonics. And if you play your cards right, 8.6 Blackout is a spectacularly accurate subsonic caliber with 300 grain and similar bullets. If you are looking for lethality and performance on game, 338 ARC is a useful evolution over 300 Blackout, but I could be wrong, but I think it is closer to 300 Blackout than it is to 8.6 Blackout. 8.6 Blackout, when set up correctly, jumps into completely another category of lethality in use cases. Okay. You can look at the numbers a little bit if you want. So the subsonic 338 ARC is a 300-ish grain bullet. Just 307 grain. Hornady's load is 307 grain sub X. At obviously subsonic speeds, they should launch it at about 1050. The twist is 1 in 8. So the bullet design doesn't have to be anything particularly unusual. And normal lead core bullets should work just fine. Okay. The 338 ARC supersonic load is from their match black whatever load. That's a 175 grain bullet. Why they decided to make a 338 ARC load in a Corgo match product line is not entirely clear to me. Excuse me. Oh. I thought I muted it, but that didn't work. 1 sec. And while reaching for the tissues, broke my glass with scotch. Bloody hell, that was The last of the scotch that I brought from when I went to Scotland last year. Well, that's just disappointing. Now it's all over the floor. All right, I'll clean it up later, I'm afraid. But let's continue the conversation. Excuse me. About B38 Park. No, that was depressing. I'm just trying to collect the glass in case my kids decide to swing by. The good thing about live streams is that my apologies. The good thing about live streams is that you can have a conversation. The bad thing is that not like you can pause it without interruption. So I do apologize. Allergies. It's a 38 arc, that's right. Why Hornady decided to do the supersonic load as a match load is not clear to me. I'm not sure who's going to be thinking of this as a match cartridge. It's a 175 grain. Has a 175 grain bullet at just over 2,000 foot per second. Not entirely clear from what barrel length, but given moderate case capacity, I'm assuming it's going to do. Fuck's sake. Sorry. I assume it's gonna probably do that out of a 16 or 18-inch barrel. Okay, that's reasonable. Nothing particularly wrong with it, except I would have thought they'd position it as more of a match caliber. Not match, as more of a hunting round. If I was Hornady, I would be doing 175 grain ballistic tip or something like that. But for the love of God. All right, that was just excessive. Let's hope I'm not getting sick. If I was Hornady, I'd be positioning this as more of a hunting round, maybe personal defense if you're so inclined. But the match round, that's kind of weird. I'll be honest with you, with 8.6 Blackout, with which I have a lot of mileage, more than most likely, I do precision stuff with subsonics because it's challenging. Yeah, and supersonic I basically view strictly as a hunting round. And I would anticipate the 338 arc to be not to be best used in a somewhat similar way. All right, I'm gonna have to wrap this up because something is weird happening with my nose. I keep on sneezing. Fundamentally, like I said, I don't see these calibers as they will obviously compete. Some of the people who use that 0.6 Blackout now will go to 338 arc. Some will adopt 338 arc and eventually decide they want more performance and migrate to 8.6 Blackout. I don't know what's going to happen. Nobody knows, frankly. But in the end, both cartridges will settle in the market and work just fine. And the customer profile for the two is not hugely different from each other. No. It's not hugely different. That's not the right thing to say. The customer profile For the 2, it's going to be a little bit different. 8.6 Blackout will always going to be oriented a little bit more on the higher end, a little bit more for people who take this fairly seriously, and you'll always get more out of it. Let's think, for example, about subsonic. So subsonic load for the ARC is at 307 grain lead core bullet. If you try to use some of the lead subsonic bullets for it, they may not work well. We'll see how it does, but it definitely will not have the lethality of the 1 and 3 twist. Yeah, 8.6 Blackout. The increase in lethality with a faster barrel twist is a real thing. You can like or not like the twist and some of the complexities that come with it. The spin drift potential for bullet failure if you're using, old cup and core bullets and stuff like that. But with the right bullet, in terms of lethality, there's no question that faster twist rate gives you more. And since 8.6 has been in development and then released, that has been measured and tested ad nauseam. Similarly, with supersonics, if you try to use a common lead core bullet with a supersonic 8.6 Blackout, there is a really good 8.6 Blackout. There is a really good chance of bullet failure, that it will explode on the way out of the muzzle and all that. That's probably what the thing that really got Hornady concerned. Simply because they make a ton of bullets, they want all of their bullets to work in all of their appropriate calibers, and that the job of trying to educate the consumer on what they can use and what they cannot use is probably complicated from a legal standpoint. For Q and 8.6 Blackout, they play in a more higher end, slightly different niche, and for what they do, they're perfectly fine with maybe a more restricted caliber in terms of components you can use successfully, but higher performance. Hornady, being a very, very large company with 338 ARC, is giving up performance to catch a broader range, a broader customer base. That's pretty much it. Then I'm going to wrap this up. I don't think you want me to keep sneezing at you. This one was short, I hope, but tells you more or less what my position is. Will I get a 338 ARC? We'll see once it's available. I'll go look at it more carefully at shot, probably shoot it at shot and see. In a bolt gun, it makes no sense to me. In an AR-15, it might be worth playing with, but time will tell. Aside from the bullet compatibility argument, the whole business between small life from ARs and all that, to me, still, given the types of guns that are available out there, is, to me, that whole argument is somewhat disingenuous. I think it all just comes down to the fact what kind of bullets you can use, and Hornady being a bullet company, I absolutely see why they would release 338 ARC in the same shape and form in which they did. All right, this was short. If there are more questions, I'll be happy to revisit it. But if all goes well, I can probably more or less forget about 338 ARC until early next year, when components, barrels, and ammo start becoming available, and then we'll see how it really does. Thank you all, and good night.